And then I will go from a low to a high point. So let's say I drew Fibonacci. So let's zoom in a little bit. This is the most recent, what's been happening most recently, right? So if I were to draw a Fibonacci from this low point to this high point, let me change it so you guys can see it a little bit better. Oh, by the way, guys, make sure that reverse is not checkmarked in your Fibonacci settings. Make sure that that's off. Okay, it just changes the way that you would draw it. So for example, if reverse was on, then to go from the low to the high, I'd have to draw from the high to the low. I have to draw backwards. So when I'm drawing the fib, guys, from the low to the high here, this fib gets invalidated as soon as I see price coming past this 786, 886 zone. So that's just the only thing I'm adding on to the previous teachings, and you guys can go through the earlier recording as well, okay, to get a recap. So you see how price is shooting down past this 886? That's telling me that this Fibonacci here is no longer valid. What I would have wanted to see is it touches this purple 836 line and it rejects. So what do I do then? This is where you can try getting multiple entries. So it rejects. Okay, now I'm looking for the previous low right here. What happened? It rejected. It kept going down. So then if I go all the way down to here, where was that low that I caught? Yeah, it was this one actually. So I went to this low. This is where you guys just gotta mark it up, and you can backtest this, right, guys? You can go into previous time frames and just backtest. So I'll go from this low to this high point all the way at the top. And I actually marked that up. Trying to find the exact trade. I went all the way from this very, very low point to this high point all the way at the top. So you remember I was showing you guys that screenshot of the Fibonacci? So the news kicked in. And when I'm saying in terms of, Ben gave us a sell around this zone at the top, right? I'll try and mark up a box. Somewhere around here was Ben's sell. How low can price go? Price is often going to go up to the 618. That can be like TP1. If you want like a highest likelihood of profit, you can do 0.5. Let's say that's a TP1. 618 is TP2. So these are areas of common reversal. And then the 836 is a nice area of reversal for SMC, for smart money concepts, for banks, right? So what I did is as soon as price came down to this area here between, I'll try and mark up. As soon as price came down to this area, I was closing my sell, right? My sell trade, I took profit, and I actually went in for a buy immediately because it hit my zone. So typically when gold, especially gold, because I've been testing this a lot on gold, when gold comes into this zone, especially when it hits that 836, it's exhausted. So if you match up with the, what do you call the stochastic, notice on the 15-minute stochastic, right? It's just strategy. I've noticed every single time that it comes into this 836, the stochastic is either overbought or oversold as well. So I can combine those, right? I see that price is coming into that zone of 836. I see that stochastic is oversold. I'm going in for a buy. And so what I'll do in terms of just writing down some instructions for yourselves, I'll draw the Fibonacci on a 5-minute or 15-minute time frame. Okay. I will, in terms of entering a trade, I'll enter based off the 1 minute just so I can observe. Right? This is just for entering. I'll go to the 1 minute. I'll look as soon as price is coming down. Okay, so it touched. Let's do a quick replay, actually. Price came down. Okay, it touched in here, but I'm waiting patiently for it to come. Okay, it just touched. I'm in. Okay, it retested. I'm in for a buy already. So by this point, typically what I will do after, so this is something that I've been testing. Okay, guys, if you want to do your own trades, test on demo first. I found that this will work very beautifully if you just want to take profit after 20 pips. It's like an easy scalp. So if I entered here, it would be 2014.85. I could ride that for 20 pips. Where is 20 pips? The 20 pips would just be, well, basically right there. And I could take profit. Or around between 20 and 30 pips, I would set break even because you've given enough breathing space. And then you let it ride. So I'll show you guys how to identify your take profit points in a minute. But you see, as soon as it touched that 836, immediate rejection, right? I know that price is going to keep climbing at the very least until on a 1 minute stochastic, price is overbought, right? So that could be your first indication of take profit. So like Paul, I know you like to take profit early, right? You want to just take your profits. Then maybe you just stay on a 1 minute time frame, wait for price to go up to an overbought position, and you take your profits. If I looked on a 15-minute time frame, it's still low. So that would tell me there's a likelihood that it's going to keep going up higher. There might be some up and down until it becomes overbought, but the likelihood is it's going to keep going higher. So I'm just teaching you guys different, methods and things to observe. And yeah, this thing flew. Yeah. So in terms of how high is it going to go? So I showed you how to identify that entry point. Show you again. Just go on the 5 minute time frame. It's easier to see. So we just went from the low point down here, the very most low point, up to the high point. The greater the range, the more accurate this zone is going to be, okay? So going from this point all the way up to here is much better than if I had gone from here to here and I entered at the 836. Basically what I'm getting at is the more data you feed in, the longer of a time frame, the better your Fibonacci is going to be. Okay. So I entered here. In terms of how high is it going to go, I'll show you guys how to mark that up. So in terms of your take profits, you just go from the high to the low. So typically, when I was taught Fibonacci, I was always taught, where did the big move begin? Where was the first sell candle that really started that whole move, right? So we can see here, push down, push up. Technically, all of this selling started around this candle, right? So we'll draw two just to see what lines up, okay? Basically, before this big sell, like this candle here and this candle, these were the two sells that kind of initiated this whole thing. So if I go from here down to my entry point, you'll see it came right into the 786, 886 zone. Take profit. If I go all the way from the highest point that it reached. By the way, quick little tangent, guys, because I know I struggled with this when I was learning Fibonacci. If I was looking for the high, you might think, well, this is the highest candle, right? This one here. Actually, you want to reference the candle body itself, not the wicks. So what was the highest point that a candle body reached? Ooh. You see that this candle body, and let me know if this is confusing, okay? You see that this candle body there is higher than this candle body here. Yep. You see that?
Yeah.
So that means I should be drawing my Fibonacci based on this candle, not this one. Okay, always based on the highest candle body. And then you just go to the top of the wick from that. So that's very important. You will see that from time to time. Always candle body. Same for the low. If I look at, if I reference that point, right, the top, then notice that it hit the 618. So that would have been like our, remember I gave you guys TP1, 0.5, TP2, 618, TP3 is this zone over here. Typically will be the 836. So it depends where you guys want to take profit. But as soon as it hit that 618, it started to reject you can have multiple zones. So even if you're not drawing it, let's say you make a mistake, you don't draw it at the right point, or maybe you guys see a different thing than I do. Let's say I drew it here. Well, it still hit that 786 area, right? It still entered this zone of take profit. If I drew it here, it still reached the 618. So just have points where you're looking to take profit. As it reaches, if it reaches 0.5, I'm definitely break even, okay, on my trade, risk free. If it hits the 618, I'm probably moving my stop loss a little bit higher just to secure some profits. So that way you don't lose, right? You're always gaining profits. But what I like about the Fibonacci, and if you drew it here, well, then, you hit your 618, so you at least would have locked in some profits. What I like about the Fibonacci, guys, is rapid rejections. So especially if you guys are you're happy with 20 pips profit, some traders only look to make 20 pips profit. You see Ben's trades, TP1 is usually 15 pips. So as soon as it hit this zone, it immediately rejected. I look on the 1 minute, look, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes for it to reach all the way up here. So that's what? 114 pips in 6 minutes. So pretty good. Okay, this is a good one. So yeah, this is a perfect example actually of what we were talking about before. So I'm going to ask you guys a quick question so I can see where you guys are at. Let's say, well, first let me show you what I'm marking up. Let's say I wanted to draw Fibonacci from this high area. I'm not going to show you which high we're going to use. I just want to see who has this concept down. From this high down to this low area, okay? So we're kind of marking up from here to here. Would I be using this? Which one of these tops would be the high? Okay. So remember the candle body example. So this here is a candle body. There to there. That's a candle body. Okay. Here to here is another candle body. Above that is the wick. And if you guys remember, all of this concept of candle body, wick, even Fibonacci, all of that I learned from the Candlestick Trading Bible, that book that I gave you guys earlier. Really, really, really good book. It really wrapped everything together for me. So I really can't stress enough. Fantastic stuff. And for everyone that's making notes, let me know. I'll share my notes with you guys because I did proper screenshots. Like I went in on that book. So long as you guys put in the effort to go through it first yourself and take some notes, I'll share my notes with you. So anyways, between these two candles, and we're looking for the high, and these two candles, is the one on the left higher, the candle body, or is the one on the right higher? So what do you guys think in the comments, left or right? No trick question, which one is higher? Candle bodies. Left. How about you, Kathy? Did that make sense between the candle body? Left. Okay. Left. Okay. All of you guys are seeing left. Awesome. Yes. Thank you. Okay, good. Yeah, guys. So correct. So you're just looking at the candle body, right? This candle body closed higher than this one. So when we're drawing the high in the Fibonacci, we would reference these two. Now, let's take this a step further. Which candle? This bluish green. I just changed my colors, guys. So my gray is the red, is a sell. Some more psychological, emotional stuff. You can change that, by the way, if you want. So on your end. So between this candle and this candle, notice the candle bodies closed at the exact same height. So which one would we use? Just use the one that had the higher wick. Okay. So highest candle body, if it's the same candle body height, use the one with the highest wick. Oh, 1 second, guys. I just need to answer the door. Coming. I bought a protein shake. So then here on the low is the same thing. So here we're looking for the lowest candle body. Okay. So we'll draw from this high down to the low. All of these closed at the same candle body, but this one had the lowest wick right here. And then we would be looking to enter. This was the lowest candle body. So we already established the high, right? In terms of where to draw the low. Again, we look at the candle bodies. You see this candle body, that candle body, and that candle body, they were all at the exact same height. So we just go based on the lowest wick. And you'll see, don't stress about getting the perfect because one, you're entering based on the range, right? Anywhere inside of this range. And secondly, price likes to repeat itself. So notice that this wick is pretty much at the exact same height as that wick. So it's not going to make like the ultimate precision. It's not going to make that much of a difference. So don't stress. There we go. So Melissa, this is for you. This is an example of a sell. So you see, went from the high to the low. 1 point of common reversal is, where's my arrows? So price could come up, hit the 0.5 and reject, right? Or it could come to the 618 and reject. But the best entries in terms of smart money concepts and banks and clearing liquidity is always this zone here. See, so it comes up here and rejects. And one thing that I've been doing personally, just something that I learned, I started learning about layering, having multiple layers through Ben. So what I like to do just to mitigate risk and get the best entry, I'll put one trade at the 786 and I'll put another trade at the 836. You see? So that's one option for you guys. Another thing that I've been experimenting with is doing a lower lot size on the 786 and then a bigger lot size on the 836. But I would say just experiment with marking up your Fibonacci first and taking one trade or two layers here with the same lot size. And then you can experiment after you've built up your confidence and reassurance with this 836 that you can do a bigger lot size afterwards. Okay. Practice first. The reason I'd like to do a bigger lot size here is because I've seen every time it touches this, it does a rapid rejection. Now, in terms of stop loss, it's just something I've personally been experimenting with. If I were to enter at the 836, I like to put my stop loss right in the middle between the 886 and the 1. So that's usually around 15 pips. We go right up to here. So 150, you move the decimal over to get a pip count. So 15 pips, $1.50. Now that I've been observing, that might even be too much because usually I can put it right up to here. And it seems to, like if price is going to reject, it's not often that it goes above this 886 line. I personally just like to leave my trades like some room to breathe. So I do 15 pips, And then if the stop loss was here, if I were to enter a layer here, then notice the stop loss is a bit more, right? So you get a better risk to reward trade in the purple 836. So notice it touched this zone and then it rejected rapidly. So now the second question. We've entered the trade. Let's say we entered the trade at this zone. Where do we take profit? Where's my 0? There's the 0. Let me just move this over. Okay. So we entered this trade up here. When do I take profit? Well, if I go from the low point to our entry zone, the high point, I can take profit. So you guys are going to see you can scalp like buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. I enter down here. I go up to the high point where we entered our sell. where would be expecting to take profit? Well, you have TP1 at the 0.5, you have TP2 at the 618. If you really want to ride it all the way, you can go into this zone. And what happens as soon as it hit this zone? Immediate rejection again. So I could take profit and go for a buy. You see? So this is like where you guys just want to spend some time marking up, because the more you do that, you just need to train your eyes, right? On where you're drawing the fibs and how low in the fib did it go, because that'll build your confidence as well when you're riding these trades yourself. So we enter here. Okay. We're in a buy now. How high can it go? Well, let's just leave it there. So we're in a buy. I draw the fib now from the high to the low. So we go from the high to the low. And look at that. It went right into the 786, 886. So we go in for the buy again. You see? Or, well, we would take profit and then we can look to sell. Right? And notice if we had entered, I always look to enter based on the 1 minute time frame, okay? So I'm waiting to see what's happening here on the 1 minute time frame. Oh. Yeah, like you'll see. So one little tip. I know I had this question, so just in case you guys have this question. On a 1 minute time frame, it's you're always going to have a little bit more accuracy, right? So you can see that this had a lower candle body than that one on a 1 minute time frame, which would mean that we would move the candle up. To keep things simple, I personally just draw the Fibonacci on a 5 minute time frame. So that might be just something for you guys to observe yourselves, okay? But that would mean that I would have my Fibonacci down here. Did it make a large difference? No, not at all. The trade would have been profitable. We would have had the same entry, all of that. So let me quickly go the 1 minute time frame. Am I losing anyone? Am I going too fast? Let me know if this is making sense for you guys, okay? If you have any questions, obviously now is the time to ask as well. So let's say we entered at the purple line. We have a short. My stop loss is right above, usually above 15 pips. It can be less, right, guys? I've been experimenting putting right in the middle between the 886 and the 1. So you see this stop loss is even less. It's 11.3 pips or 12 pips. Okay. Now, I've also been observing that you can have a very tight stop loss, and that works well too. But this is something you guys just want to observe for yourselves, okay? What works? Anyways, let's say we put it right in the middle. Immediately, it touched this area and started to reject. Okay. And in this case, it did what's known as a retest. So I'll teach you guys that quickly. Have a break. It breaks past the zone. It retests. Does it want to come back into the zone? And then it started immediately pushing onwards. That's something that's actually rather common. Okay. So this is another idea for you guys. If you want to just ride 20 pips, then you can enter